If we know the number of valence electrons, that tells us the group number. If we know the amount of energy levels, we know the period number. So we're going to practice identifying atoms and being able to tell what group and what period they're in. So you have a yellow piece of paper that goes along with this half sheet of paper called Who Am I that you need to be looking at as you're working on this. So starting with this first example, top left corner, let's start on that one. So looking at your piece of paper, we need to draw in those electrons that are pictured there. So take the time, you're going to have to add another circle, but take time to draw in those electrons. So we've got 2 on the first ring. From there, we've got 8 on the second one. And on the third ring, we have 3. So this is my element. Now from here, we could count up protons. We can figure out the element name quite simply, but I want to practice, though, counting our valence electrons to figure out the group number and the period number. This VE stands for valence electron, G is group number, P is period number. So looking at this atom, to count the valence electrons, you're going to look at the very, very outside ring, the very outermost one being used. In this example, we have 3, so we have 3 valence electrons. If I use given pi over here, remember those acronyms that we set up to help us remember things. So looking at that, if I need to find my group number, then I simply go off of my amount of valence electrons, and that will tell me the group number because give stands for that. So I have 3 valence electrons. That means it's in group 3. From there, if I look at pi, pi says that the period number is the amount of energy levels. So I need to count my circles that are being used. So I've got 1 circle, 2 circle, 3 circles. So then my period is 3. Once you go to the periodic table, you'll go over to group 3. And then just like in math, think of it like coordinates. You go over to group 3 and then down to row 3. So I've got 1, 2, 3 rows. So that would be whatever this element is here. I'm shading it in on my periodic table just so you can refer to it on yours, but look in the front of your notebook, find that element, and you'll write that element name there. And so that's as simple as this Who Am I paper is. So I would continue through more of them, and when you are done with this, you will bring it to Miss Bostic and she can check it. But actually, before we move on, let's do this next one, the top right one. Let's do that one real quick too. So on that one, we've got just 2 electrons that are there. And so you need to identify your valence electrons. I have a blank circle there, but we're going to ignore that one because we can't have 0 valence electrons. So on this example, we've got 2 valence. Now normally that would mean that it would be in group 2. So that would mean we're looking at this group here. Take time and look at your periodic table. Do you have something there in group 2 with the atomic number 2? The answer should be 0. Or you don't, sorry, because that doesn't make sense there. So if you have 2 valence electrons, although it should be in group 2, since it's full, because it's only 1 circle, that puts it over here in group 8. So that one should have 8 valence electrons, or 8 for the group number. And then it's only using 1 ring, so it is in period 1. That's our only anomaly, our only difference on this one. As far as those other 4 examples, you need to draw on the electrons that are present and then identify the element name based on the groups and the period. And so like I said, when you're done with this, have Miss Bostic check it. Once she has given you the all clear, you can then move on to the back side of this paper, the valence clues, where it's very similar to the one that you just did, except this time though it doesn't have all of your electrons are not displayed. And so they're showing you only the valence electrons. And so you need to be able to look at that and count the valence electrons to fill in the rest of this table here. So remember your period number equals the energy levels, and the group number equals the valence electrons. And again, once that one is complete, you should turn in your paper Miss Bostic will check it, and then you'll fix it or glue it onto your notebook on page 23.